Hey, hope this video finds you in good health. Today I want to talk about what I think Jordan Peterson means by belief. So, in his surrounded video, he asked Parker what he means by belief, and Parker says, "Do you think it to be true?" And then Jordan Peterson gives his own definition, which is, if you believe something, you stake your life on it, you live for it, and you die for it. So Parker wants to explore this definition. He says, well, if somebody points a gun to your head and asks you to say that you believe something that you don't believe, you would do it. And what I think he's trying to say is that you can act against your beliefs. So I have an analogy to illustrate this idea, which is, I want to say, inspired by Alex O'Connor's video on this topic about this chair on the plane where if you sit on it and it doesn't exist, you like fall through, something along those lines. So what I came up with is a bridge. So we have William on one hand and Ian on another hand. Okay, so in this scenario, Ian is a psychopath. Okay, and he brings William to this place where there's an old bridge that looks like it's about to fall off, and under it, essentially, if you fall from that bridge, you die. There's no chance you survive. So it pulls William out of the truck. He puts a gun to his head and he says, "Tell me that you believe it's true, that weight, that your weight could be supported by the bridge, that if you cross that bridge, you would survive." And of course, William says, "Yes, I believe it. Whatever you want, I'll tell you that the sky is pink and that dogs have wings, whatever you want." That doesn't really prove that he believes it. For him to really believe that it would hold his weight, he would have to walk through it, right? Like another example Alex gave, which would be with rain, right? So if you say that you don't think it's going to rain, but then you pull out an umbrella, you don't really believe that. And so, of course, William is reluctant. He doesn't want to go through that bridge. But then he says, if you don't go through that bridge, I'm going to torture you to death. And so he walks through that bridge, and miraculously, he makes it to the other side. And if Jordan Peterson saw William walking through that bridge, I think he would be forced to say, by his own definition, that he believes the bridge would hold his weight, because that's what he acted out. And that's, I think, the point that Parker was trying to make. However, if you brought Peterson and you explain what happened, you would realize that that point isn't so much a point as a logical fallacy. I think it's called affirming the consequent. So Jordan Peterson says, if A, you believe something, then B, you act it out. Now, you wouldn't be right in saying that because you acted something out that you believed it. It's a one-way street. However, I do see the point he's trying to make, and I do think that there are instances in which you can and do act against your beliefs. For instance, coercion could be one of them, and that wouldn't mean that you believe it. Another could be being incapable of acting out what you believe in. So say I'm working as a cashier, right? And I believe that I should give everybody the right amount of change. However, I'm terrible at math. And it happens every now and again that I mess up the calculations and give somebody the wrong change. That doesn't mean I believe that I should have given him the wrong change. It just means I was incapable of doing what I believed I should have done. Or maybe I didn't have enough change and I explained to him like, hey, I'm missing 5 cents. And he's like, okay, don't sweat it, it's just 5 cents. And he walks off. And I didn't give him his full change and I felt terrible about it. But that doesn't mean that I didn't believe I should have given him. It doesn't mean that I act in accordance with my beliefs. It means I acted in accordance with what I was capable of doing, not with what I was willing to do. Or for instance, if you're on a diet, and you believe that you should be eating healthy, maybe you're gonna slip. Maybe you're gonna have a cheat meal every once in a while. So, or maybe, you know in your heart and you truly believe that some things are wrong, but you have to do them because it's the lesser of two evils. So I think that Jordan Peterson's definition could be improved by adding key little details. Like, I think it would be better if you said what you act out over time under acceptable circumstances. So if you mess up once in a while, you still believe it. And if there are excruciating circumstances that make you act in discord with what you believe, then that also doesn't really change your beliefs. And I think what's really important about this type of definition as what you act out is that I think hardship, one of the points of this definition is that hardship would bring out your true colors. So if you're starving and you find a purse and there's $200 on it and you really want to eat a burger, but you believe the right thing to do would be to give it back untouched, right? To just hand the owner their money. Maybe they need it more than you, maybe they don't, whatever the case may be. You believe that you would be doing the right thing by giving it back. Well, if you truly believe that, then that's what you would have to do, right? And then if you don't do it, then maybe what you really believe is that I don't know, that you should maximize utility and that you need that money more than whoever lost the purse or whatever. But you wouldn't truly believe, it wouldn't be like Socrates would say, where once you've determined the right thing to do, it would be foolish to do anything other than that. You couldn't really claim for that to be your philosophy, and that's something that I think would be lost on Parker's definition, which I think was good. I don't think it was circular, but I would add to that I think what you believe is a division of what you think to be true. Like odd is of number, or like the holy is of what is just, as seen in Euthyphro. So I may believe that this many things are true, but I may think that this many things are true, but I only really believe this many of them. And to illustrate this, we could look at civil and criminal court, where you think it to be true is maybe good enough in civil court, because I'm under the impression that civil court, you just have to prove that it's more likely than not. But then what you believe would be illustrated by criminal court, where it's not just more likely than not, it's beyond reasonable doubt. And then you could narrow down even further and say what you're convinced or what you're sure of is beyond shadow of doubt. So I think the point Parker was trying to make was that you can and often do act, and we often do act against our beliefs. And that's not something that Jordan Peterson's definition of the word really allowed for. Essentially, what I think happened in that video is that Jordan Peterson defined man as a featherless biped, and Parker pulled out a featherless, a plucked chicken, and Jordan Peterson, instead of modifying the definition, instead of improving it and saying that it's a featherless biped with nails at the end of each finger or something along those lines, it sort of shifted into lying. And ultimately the problem, in my view, were two things that weren't necessarily the definitions themselves, but A, the lack of time, and B, that there was a certain hostility, I think, present throughout the surrounding video that was counterproductive, and I think inhibited their ability to get to the truth. But I don't know. I wasn't there. And so I think I said mostly what I wanted to say. I don't think my definition or what I added is perfect, but I think it's a step in the right direction. I think that Jordan Peterson's definition is very interesting. I do like this idea of what you believe being what you act out, but I don't think I think it's too absolute. And essentially what I'm trying to do here is take a step in the right direction. It's not perfect, but I wanted to give a little grain of salt, my 2 cents, whatever. So do with that what you will.